Hey guys, in today's video I'll be doing another tropical update. And, before we get started, I'd like to take 15 seconds of silence because it's 9/11. We'll take 15 seconds of silence starting right now. Alright. We did that just to think of what happened that day. It really just not only did it change how the United States as a country we are now, how it changed from then to now, but it changed the whole world and how the whole world has what we nowadays, what we look at the world and be like, yeah, that's a lot different than what it would have been if those attacks didn't happen. I have said, I have started to say that I think nowadays, going through, especially now through 2020, the two main events in these modern days that really shaped the United States and really I think the whole world in general was 9/11 and then Hurricane Katrina. Both of those events really brought kind of everyone together and just shocked everyone around the world, not just in the U.S. Especially Hurricane Katrina, after Katrina happened, really just totally devastated New Orleans. Everyone around the country and even around the world, in fact, just with thoughts and prayers, everyone's thoughts and prayers went out to everyone living in New Orleans, and it was truly devastating events, truly devastating events. I think those are the two main events that really shaped our country and the rest of the world kind of through today's how today the world and the United States are. All right, let's get into the video, and let's talk about how active the tropics are. We have tropical storms Paulette and Renee. Paulette is still at 65 miles per hour, though it is a bit stronger at 990 millibars. It's continuing to move to the northwest at 10 miles per hour, so it's moving at a decent clip. Renee is pretty weak. It's barely a tropical storm. It looks terrible. It's barely a tropical storm. It's at 40 miles per hour. It's at 1,004 millibars, moving west-northwest at 13 miles per hour. I really think Renee's not really going to last much longer, not as long as the NHC is forecasting it to last. I think it will honestly die out pretty quickly and dissipate pretty quickly. Aside from the two tropical storms that we have active right now, we have 4 different areas of potential tropical development. We have this disturbance in the north-central Gulf that I do not think will become much of anything. We have this area that's right near Florida and over the west central Bahamas right now, that throughout today really organized extremely quickly to where, like, earlier this morning it was like a low, maybe slightly medium chance of development. Now it's at a pretty much a decently high, almost guaranteed chance that it will develop into a tropical system. And in fact, it does have the potential to become a tropical system by tonight. And then it'll track into the eastern Gulf of Mexico and track to the west-northwest, and that will be, though, its general area where it will have the best chance of development. So if it doesn't develop into a tropical system, or at least a tropical depression later tonight, it has the chance to do so in a couple days once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. And that's actually now Invest 96L. This is Invest 95L out in the East Tropical Atlantic that has a pretty much guaranteed shot as well of becoming our next one of the next named systems. If we go to the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook, you can see this Invest 95L will generally be continuing to the west. And I gotta say, even though the models currently are having Invest 95L continuing west and then curving more north and out to sea, I think there's still a decently likely chance that it will just be much more to the south and impact the Caribbean, Leeward Islands, and then eventually the United States. I, I do not think it will go out to sea, honestly, and I gotta say the GFS has been fairly consistent over the past couple of days of showing it reaching the U.S. It's kind of changed to what the kind of the Euro is showing of it going more out to sea, but I gotta say I really think that it's more likely to hit the U.S. than just go out to sea. And then we have this other disturbance, this other area of disturbed weather, tropical weather behind Invest 95L, which will definitely be more of an out-to-sea system, like Renee especially. And this system also honestly could become another tropical system, another tropical system. So it's really just crazy right now in the tropics. And actually, if we'll last real quick, we'll look at the NHC's track for Paulette and Renee. First, we'll look at Paulette, and Paulette is also going to be an out-to-sea system, though beforehand it will actually, the only land it will be interacting with and impacting is Bermuda, and in fact, Paulette is expected to become a hurricane, and I gotta say, a pretty decent, maybe pretty strong hurricane at that. It is expected to potentially become a hurricane by late Saturday evening into early Saturday night, so towards tomorrow, late tomorrow evening, or early tomorrow night, it could become a hurricane, and then from there it will continue to strengthen and maybe make a direct hit on Bermuda and then curve out to sea and still remain a hurricane. So that's pretty interesting, especially for where it is going to become a hurricane, just kind of generally where it is and will be in the Atlantic. So that's pretty interesting stuff. Now let's look at Renee's track that the NHC has put out, and you can see the NHC thinks it will last still another 5 days or so without dissipating. I gotta say, I really don't think it will last even another 2 days. I think it will most likely dissipate pretty quickly. There is literally like almost no convection with this system. There's just a very small amount of convection within the center part of the system, and that's really it. Otherwise, it's extremely bare, no convection, no thunderstorm activity at all. So honestly, I really think it will die out by late Saturday or Sunday. So that's really what my take is on the kind of what the two tropical storms are going to be doing and kind of what they're doing right now. But as I'll show you actually right now what the tropical storms look like and what the invests look like. First, let's look at Paulette. I gotta let this load. Come on, load, please. And Paulette has been, over the past 2-3 days, has been impacted by some pretty strong shear. In fact, like 40 knot shear. That's pretty damn strong shear. But now it seems to be getting better. But even, by the way, going through all that very strong shear, it's been able to maintain a lot of its convection around the center and everything. So it's still looking fantastic right now, as you can see. It is looking pretty good, and to see a recent blow up of convection again, and has great outflow again, nice kind of spin to it as a tropical system. It's a strong tropical storm right now, so will continue most likely to intensify. We'll look at Renee, and then we'll look at the two invests. You can see there's Renee. Yeah, as I said, it's a pretty non-existent system. It like has barely any convection with it, and honestly, I don't see it lasting past Sunday. So, honestly, I think Renee's on its way out. Now, let's look at the two invests. First, we'll look at 95L. That's out in the East Tropical Atlantic. We got to let this load in. And now, of course, it's an invest right now. It's still very broad, has lots of convection, lots of area to it. It will start to consolidate and become more of a concise system as we head more towards the latter part of the weekend into early next week. And the models are really showing this system as well, really intensifying as it continues west through the tropical Atlantic. So this is going to be most likely a pretty decently fast paced, intensifying system. So that's going to be very, very interesting to watch. Now let's look at Invest 96L, which is close to Florida right now, and you can see big, large, it's pretty slow moving, big, large amount of area of convection, but you can see there's a lot of good convection with it. It's pretty much over, what is it, Abaco Island in the Bahamas, and kind of continuing to move generally westward, maybe slightly northwestward towards very southern Florida, and then it'll head into the Gulf. But between where it is now and as it heads into the Gulf, it could intensify and intensify far enough to become maybe a tropical system already by like later tonight, towards midnight. So that'll be very, very interesting. But if not, heading into tomorrow and then Sunday, it'll head into the Gulf and have its next best shot at intensifying into a tropical system. And I gotta say, I could see this tropical system hit the Gulf Coast somewhere between Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle as a strong tropical storm to maybe a Category 1 hurricane, I gotta say. The Gulf is very, very warm. It's got very warm temperatures. In fact, it has the warmest sea surface temperatures, I think, in general in the whole Atlantic Basin. And the environment that this system is going to be moving into is also very conducive and has like no shear, no dry air. So this system will also be able to most likely intensify pretty far. Now let's go and look at the forecast models and show you what the forecast models are indicating for the tropics. So here's the GFS model. You can see there's Paulette, there's Renee, here's Invest 95L, and Invest 96L is right over here. Now as we head farther out into time, you can see there goes Paulette, and Renee dies out. In fact, the GFS does have Renee pretty much dying out, like I was saying, by like Sunday, maybe Monday. So yeah, pretty good call by me there. And then actually, let me bring this back a bit. There's Invest 96L. The GFS and the models in general aren't really picking up on the system becoming all that strong or anything, but there's Invest 95L right there, and becomes a very, very strong hurricane, very powerful system. And man, come on, load, please load. All right. Sorry. So yeah, you can see it continues west and then curves more towards the north and west and directly north, and then gets pulled out to sea by a cold front that swings through New England, the northeast, and actually brings the freezing line, the freezing temperature line, the 540 millibar line, very far south into New England. So we could be looking at some actually pretty cold temperatures as we head into towards the end of next weekend, which will be very, very interesting to watch. You can see there goes Invest 95L, and for the rest of the tropics, for what the GFS is showing, not much of any indication of any other tropical systems, but you know, that will most likely change. Honestly, I gotta say, we're most likely gonna really just bang through the rest of the pre-designated names pretty quickly over the next week, I'd say. Now let's show you what the European is showing, showing for tropics. Man, we gotta let this load in. It's gonna take a little while. Come on. Please load in. What is happening? I'm gonna change it to my computer being connected to my my phone's personal hotspot. Let's reload that in. Here we go. Okay. Here's what the European's showing. There's Paulette and Renee. You can see it shows Renee dying out, Paulette hitting Bermuda and then heading out to sea. There's Invest 95L becoming a very strong system. And it's also kind of like the GFS, also showing it, showing Invest 95L more going out to sea. There's that cold front. So, you know, we'll see. I don't fully agree with what the models are showing, honestly, for 95L, which is strange because I generally am on board most of the time with what they're showing for the tropics, and for what they're thinking about what the tropics will be kind of doing in general. But like I said, I'm not really agreeing with any of them this time around. I really think that the tropics will be, I think I'll tell you, I do agree with what they're showing for Paulette and Renee. I think that Invest 96L will become good bit stronger than what the models are showing, and I think Invest 95L will impact the U.S. Instead of just the model showing it curving out to sea. I don't even know why I'm showing you the CMC model, honestly. I mean, it kind of barely shows Invest 96L forming, kind of like the GFS and the Euro. And it barely even shows anything for 95L, and if it does, if this is what it's showing for 95L, it's just showing it immediately heading out to sea, which makes no sense. So I don't even know what the CMC is doing, in all honesty. That's crazy. And by the way, we are now in an official La Nina, and La Nina is likely to stick around through winter. So we're going to have a La Nina winter, guys. So there's that piece of information. And you can see La Nina is very, the Enzo region is very cold, especially towards the central and eastern part, towards the coast of South America. So yeah, I mean, it's a very cold area, very cold amount of sea surface temperature anomalies. So yeah, we're in a La Nina. We're in a weak La Nina right now, but it is going to be getting stronger, and we'll most likely, as we head into winter, I'm going to say, I think we will be in a more of a medium to maybe strong La Nina, but I think it's more likely that, well, judging by how the La Nina fluctuates, how these fluctuate, I think it's more likely that we'll be more towards actually kind of more a weak to moderate La Nina. As we head into later in fall, I'll make a video on kind of showing what a weak La Nina would mean for the U.S. or something. Well, we'll see what happens with that. It's not a definite thing. It's still ways out for that video. But in any case, let's go to the Wikipedia page for the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. And, well, what a season we've had so far. We've had 18 total depressions, 17 total storms, 5 hurricanes, and 1 major hurricane. The total deaths so far this season is at 117, and total damage is currently at right around $14.67 billion, rounding up pretty much. We're at a total damage at around $15 billion in damage. So that's fairly damaging season. Nothing, crazy nothing crazy at all. Unlike what 2017 did, of course. So, I think we're already at the R name, and we'll likely see. Honestly, we'll likely see the S&T name going into next week, and then we'll see about Vicky and Wilfred. I think we'll see Vicky and Wilfred happen going towards the middle of the latter part of next week into the weekend, and I think it's slightly a bit more possible that we will enter the Greek alphabet as we get towards September 20th. Though then again, September 20th is going into the following week of next week, towards the end of next week into early the following week. So, there is that chance that it could happen, but my range of when we could be entering the Greek alphabet is anywhere between the 20th and 25th, so, it's slightly more likely that we'll be entering the Greek alphabet a little bit sooner than the 25th, so maybe more towards maybe the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So that's something we're really gonna have to watch, but it's definite that we're gonna be entering the Greek alphabet, because again, we only have 4 names left on the pre-designated list, so it's crazy. So that's today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. My hearts and prayers go out to everyone who went through the 9/11 attacks. I was born 2.5 years or so later. Later after the 9/11 attacks, I was born the early part of 2004. And my dad was working in the city at the time, and he worked in the city up until I was a young kid. He was going to be right near the World Trade Center that day, but then he remembered that he was going to be a little farther south than where the World Trade Center buildings were. So thankfully, he was where he was, honestly, on that day, and he was okay. But that was a truly life-changing, world-changing day for so many people, and hopefully, if anyone's watching this and has any kind of story about 9/11 or their parents or something going through 9/11, Feel free, if you want to comment them down below. But you know, that's today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it, though. If you liked the video, though, please remember to, if you want to like and comment. If you're a first-time viewer, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.